Describing the land of Israel in the years before the Roman exile that took place in the year 70, Josephus Flavius testified to the abundance of Eretz Israel. He says, "For it's an extremely fertile land, a land of pastures and many varieties of trees. The entire land is planted by inhabitants, and not one stretch of earth is left uncared for. Because the land is blessed with such goodness, the cities of the Galilee and numerous villages are densely populated. Even the smallest of villages boasts of at least 15,000 inhabitants." Compare this with what the Ramban Nachmanides wrote in the year 1260 to his son. He wrote from Eretz Israel, "What shall I tell you concerning the condition of the land? She is greatly forsaken, and her desolation is great. That which is of greater holiness is more desolate than that which is of lesser holiness. Yerushalayim is most desolate and destroyed." 6 centuries later, in 1867, Mark Twain found the land of Israel in the same condition. He writes, "We arrived in peace to Mount Tabor, and we did not see a soul during the entire journey. Everywhere we went, there was no tree or shrub. Land of Israel dwells in sackcloth and ashes. The spell of a curse hovers over her. The land of Israel is a wasteland. The land of Israel is no longer to be considered part of the actual world." Compare this quasi-post-nuclear scene that Mark Twain describes with the Torah's dire warning. And it says, "And the foreigner who will come from a distant land, when they see the plagues of the land and the illnesses with which God has inflicted it, sulfur and salt, a conflagration of the entire land. It cannot be sown, it cannot sprout, and no grass shall rise up upon it. And all the nations will say, 'For what reason did God do this to the land?'" For centuries, the Christian church tried to make mileage out of the above verse, claiming that the desolation of the land of Israel was proof that God had rejected the Jewish people. The Ramban, however, points out that the desolation of the land of Israel is really a blessing in disguise. In the Torah portion of Bechukotai, it states, "I will make the land desolate, and your foes who dwell upon it will be desolate. During all our exiles, our land will not accept our enemies. It will refuse to be fertile, so that no other nation may settle in the land. An army may conquer territory, but to establish a permanent settlement requires the cooperation of the land." The Maharsha, Rabbi Shmuel Eliezer Halevi Idles, who lived from 1555 to 1631, writes, "As long as Israel does not dwell on its land, the land does not give her fruits as she's accustomed. When she will begin to flower again and give of her fruits, this is a clear sign that the end, the time of the redemption is approaching, when all Israel will return to its land."